like fire. Nanteleod rides with hearts so dire. To Carleon's gate he brings desire. To claim the throne his blood requires. In Escavalon, where shadows creep, he dreamt of title once so deep. High king he'd be, and make them weep. The Saxons' hold he vowed to sweep. Nanteleod, the brave, the bold, in legends whispered, tales retold. With sword and shield he breaks the mold. A hero's fate in dark and old. Against Edict's might he stood tall. In Carleon's halls he faced the call. For Logra's lands he'd give his all. The Saxon hold he vows to fall. With every strike the foes would cower. In vengeful winds he finds his power. In Carleon's dawn a golden hour. Nanteleod's name the lands endower. Battles fierce with cries of flame, he etched in history his name. Swords clashing wild, a deadly game. Escavalon's pride he reclaimed.
All right, and we're in for some Pendragon Nanteleod's Legacy. The year is 507. We're on our third episode. Today we get to find out a number of things. We're going into a pretty entertaining week of cross warfare, and we'll see where things go. We're gonna quickly do an introduction to the gang here, and then we'll dive in. We'll start with Yampa. Then Wargar.
Hey guys, Yampa here. Can't wait to get back playing Saroon, and let's see what war brings.
Wargar, then Drax.
Hey guys, Wergar here, playing Sarkalis. Glad to be back and to get into the swing of things.
And
playing as Serene, ready for some anarchy. It's gonna be pretty chaotic, I suspect.
Please be nice to me. I'm Bert playing Sir Cormac. Please be nice to me, Dice. Please.
I'm sure it'll work out as long as you beg your dice. Trent.
I find that you have to bully your dice into submission, and I will be playing Segodia, and my dice will do exactly what I fucking tell them.
That's right, dominance. Yeah, dominate them.
Like the madness roll. So
That's right. To be fair, that was the best way of me salvaging some glory from that awful feast.
Yes, it's true. All right, we're gonna go ahead and dive in pretty much where we left off. We will get to Gwydir though, because we've seen Gwydir more recently than we've seen the other. We're gonna start with the muster, or leading up to the muster rather, in Corinium, in Clarence. So before you all begin such things, is there anything in particular you'd like to do? One sec here. I'm just gonna quickly, while you're doing this, don't mind me, I'm gonna grab the 507 map, because we actually have a 507 map now.
Awesome.
That's useful to see. Because now you can see the way the Summerland is divided. Since we're going to a war in Summerland, it's probably pretty important, I'm thinking. But what I do, correct me if I'm wrong, we didn't actually do anything with y'all after the feast, right? Save for Gwydir? Right. Okay.
Correct.
Save for Gwydir, yeah.
Okay. So, you have just about 3 weeks after the announcement to do what you all would like to do. Does anyone want to volunteer, or shall I roll a d4 and see who we're looking at first?
I mean, mine is easy enough.
Sure it is. Yep. There's nothing that can be randomly determined.
Nothing can possibly happen, right?
Yes.
Well, Rune would try to obviously set his family up to be ready just in case another plague, or if the plague returns, and setting up defenses just in case those raids get deeper into his territories. But this time he will just kind of appoint some of the younger Brecken nobles, kind of like showing that he trusts them, and then just giving them the leeway to do what must be done to protect the lands.
Perfect. Roll a d10 for me. And 2d100, sir.
Yampa. I don't know who that Yampa do this. 43 and 94.
Okay. As you go to leave your lands, returning back towards Corinium, you're following down a standard mountain path that you normally you've traveled on at least a dozen times. Give me an awareness check.
That is not me. This is
You hear the crone's voice in your head for a second, or maybe not on your in your head, but on the wind, more so. You hear it coming from a path that you have never taken before, and you're left kind of like wondering, like, where does that go? You have your retinue of men. You're not alone. In fact, you have a convoy because that's what you're traveling with to the battle.
You know what? Is Medic with me? Did we decide that Medic was coming to my lands with me?
Yes.
I'm just going to order the convoy to halt, and I'm just going to take Medic with me. Just
Okay.
the two of us and heading over that way.
Okay. Give me a horsemanship roll. Don't worry, this isn't for you falling off your horse yet.
Yet.
Okay. There was a caveat on yet. Okay. So as you start to go down the path, you remember when you went through to Carrick-Canaan all those years ago through the mountains with Nanteleod's army, that there were places you had to get off your horse and walk your horse if you wanted to not tumble over, and that the mountain men, they tend to ride horses that were more fit for the mountains and seem to navigate things like this. You don't realize until you start traveling on this path, that, you know, scoping it out with Matic, that this is one of those paths, and you, not exactly, but it's certainly one you should have gotten your off your horse for. So now I need another horsemanship test. Okay. Regardless, you don't tumble, but like there's a point where some of the path gives out and kind of slides, and you see like rocks roll right down and over a ledge, and you can't see where that ledge goes, but from the sounds of the rocks hitting at the bottom, that probably would have been quite the fall. Would you like to get off your horse and guide your horse?
Yes, I'm actually going to. How farther in is this? Like, do I have any idea? Well, actually, no. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'm going to leave my horse with Matic, and
Okay.
I'm going to go onwards
Going-
alone from here.
Going solo. Oh, look at this. A knight's quest. Okay. Awareness test. You hear a distant, like, clanking sound. It's rhythmic. And as you get a little closer, you realize it sounds a lot like an anvil and hammer. It sounds like there might be some, perhaps some kind of smith ahead. All you see is like the side of a mountain, though. You're kind of confused from, as you're coming down, you don't have good sight of where the path leads to, but it doesn't seem like there's a village or anything here, so it's kind of out of place, to say the least.
He'll call out. He'll say something along the lines of, "Hail! Who goes there?" As he gets closer.
You hear the sound, the rhythmic sound stop, and then it continues again. No response.
Just a little bit rude.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I'll just continue forwards. He is most definitely on his guard though. He hasn't drawn his sword, but his hand is on the pommel.
Okay. Okay. So as you continue on, you can see it looks like this is happening inside of some sort of cave up ahead. as far as you can see, it doesn't look particularly wide. You can hear the sound that much more obvious, and you can actually see, because it's a bit dark in there, you can see the sparks of the every time the hammer meets whatever is happening in there. Give me
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
maybe give me a fairy lore test.
Oh, I'm amazing at those. So good at that I can't even find it there. Oh my God.
Shit! Yep.
Pass.
Give it a tick. You've heard tales of dwarfs in these mountains. Now, dwarfs are not your typical Lord of the Rings style dwarf. They are more the classic Britain folklore or Welsh folklore version. That is to say, you don't know a lot about them. What you do know is they're short in stature, and they can be traded with, just like most fairy, but they are in fact considered a fairy creature. And they tend to have allegiances, though some are don't owe allegiances to either the Seelie or the Unseelie.
And what I was gonna ask beforehand is, how wide is this path that I'm going? You said that the cave itself is not very big, but like
As
this
you-
path, it's like, there are any other paths going
As-
there, you know?
As you get down the path a bit more, and Maddox like fully out of sight, barely in earshot at this point, you realize that you see that the path in front of you to the cave kind of opens up more into an actual like landing area, nice flat ground before continuing on, past the cave. So you could continue to follow, down the the narrow side if you wish, but the cave itself is in a clear opening.
Okay. He will approach the cave. He won't do any like sneaking around. He's gonna walk up.
As you approach the dwarf, very clearly a dwarf by your looks, you see him. He is probably about 4 feet tall, 4'5", somewhere in there, and he has a nice long beard. He has a shaved head. His skin is more of like a dark color, so tanned, I guess, would be the way to approach that, and not gray, which is, since you have fairy lore, you've heard of the Drugar. That is not the type of creature you want, because rather than smelting, they might spend their time torturing you by removing each of your organs independently for funsies. So
Great news. This is
yeah.
great news.
They are known for having like really crazy amounts of strength.
Good. I don't plan on wrestling any dwarves, anyways. I will walk to a like a respectable distance. I'm not just gonna walk into his cave, and I'll just look inside, inspect around, see what he's working on, and I think he is just, I don't know if he is like nonchalant about it or trying to keep the fact that he is seeing yet another Fae, kind of under control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I got another one of these. Hail.
Why don't you go ahead and roll me a courtesy roll, please, if you could. You can add a +5 to this because you passed fairy lore. Oh, you're quick to the pull. That won't put you at crit, but you succeeded anyways. Okay. So you know that a lot of this, like leading into this, you want to be careful not to draw offense to any fairy, because Fae are capable of cursing you with their words. and that's never fun. So you want to be kind no matter what the interaction is, if you can. You also want to be careful of promises, because those can be held against you, much like a curse.
Probably the least equipped to do this. Oh, hail, good sir. I couldn't help but hear that you were working on something.
He stops and he looks at you. This time he puts down his hammer. Some important lord, are you?
I'm what passes for the ruler around these parts, yes.
Not these parts, perhaps where you're from. These are the lands of the king of over there.
King of over there?
He nods, very matter-of-factly.
Huh. Very interesting. Well, might I know your name?
Cled. And yourself?
Rue.
Sorry, what did you do? Did you veil your name? Or was that just a spin on the R there?
Yeah, I purposely skipped the N, so as not to give him the whole thing.
Okay. All right. He nods to you. Well, you've come here. I don't get many visitors, but those that do, I trade with.
I would be open to trade. What is it that you trade in?
My crafts.
Might I see said crafts?
He looks at you, and he kind of looks at your side where your scabbard is. He says, more my work, refinement. I don't offer. These works are for the king and his vassals, not for your kind. No offense.
None taken. So you would refine my weapon?
For a price? What would
might
you
that be?
use this weapon for, Rue?
To slay the enemies of my king.
And would that include the king of over there and his vassals? Would you make war on us?
I don't believe so. We march south.
South. To the lands of summer.
Indeed. They have been taken over and we aim to free them.
A noble cause. Very well. Yampa, why don't you roll me 2d100 real quick for me, good sir?
Oh boy. What am I getting myself into?
Fun.
Give me a second. You see him go over to, there's a natural kind of pool, and on the ground, he walks over and he looks into it for a moment, and he looks back at you. He says, I have but one ask.
And what is that?
Once you've rid this land of the spirit that plagues it, that you return this to me.
I can come to those terms.
Very good. He reaches his hands out to take your blade from you in kind of a honorable way, rather than just grabbing at it.
I'll offer him this sword, which I believe was Cormac, the fancy one that Cormac made us.
It's just a regular knight's blade, right? It's not a
Yep.
two-handed
I mean,
blade,
it's
or
fancy, but yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
just,
two-handed blade though, or anything.
No.
Okay. So he begins to work on it, and it's surprising, I think, to you how skilled he is, how precise each stroke of the hammer is, and you find yourself almost entranced in watching. Probably an hour or two goes by, and then it's done, and you kind of snap out of it. It's like you're entranced. Once the blade comes out of the water, you can see your reflection in it, Rune. I need to know how Rune feels about himself right now.
Huh.
I got an idea. I know how to do this. What is Rune's pride? It's lower than his modesty, yes?
My pride? What?
Yeah, your proud is lower than your modest
Oh
score
yeah.
is
I'm
high.
famously modest.
Okay, you're famously modest. Okay, so
Yep.
what I will do then is offer you simply 2 rolls. I want you to pick a passion that represents your greatest weakness, and I want you to pick a passion that represents your greatest pride. Like your greatest, when I say weakness, vulnerability, let's say.
Huh. My greatest weakness. I'd honestly say that it was his family.
Family would be your greatest vulnerability.
Yeah.
What about your greatest pride or victory? Something to be proud of. Not necessarily prideful, but proud of.
Proud of. It will definitely have to be the trolls, I'd say.
Do you have
Surviving. Just surviving the trolls.
right? And passion-wise, what do you think would represent that? Your honor, your.
I do have a trait directly for troll knights, but yeah, it would definitely be honor. Yeah, honor.
Okay. I want you to roll both.
So we're rolling honor. Where are you from? Oh, here. Honor is
Damn.
That's
Okay.
nice.
vulnerability.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Coming from Trent, that's rich.
Wow.
Those
Wow.
are my rolls. Hey.
Natty 20 and a natty 18. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Get the
I
French
wasn't
beat out for that.
I wasn't
I guess
expecting
you
a
win.
tie. I didn't think of a tie. Damn it.
You win the round table. Congratulations.
All right.
Haha! I am King Arthur.
Oh,
You are now
jeez.
I am Sir Chivalry.
Okay. Your honor. Interesting. Okay. Your honor is going to go to 21 because you crit it. Your love family is going to go to 21 because you crit it. Or to 19 because you crit it. And for the entire summer, you will be impassioned with honor.
That's pretty handy.
Yeah.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
Game.
It's not without its costs, but you are impassioned with your honor. You feel kind of like a confidence in you that you haven't felt in a long time, and to speak of it plainly, it's very different than a pride. It's like a certainty that you can succeed. When you get back to Maddox, like, sorry, did you want to say anything to the dwarf before leaving?
It'll probably be something. This will. Well, while he grabs it, he looks at himself in the blade. He sheathes it. And yeah, once the spirit has been dealt with, then this shall be returned to you, either by my hands or one of my own.
He nods to you. With that, he kind of turns around and goes back to his trade, and you can hear the sound of his hammer clinking away as you make your way back up the path. As you get to Maddox, he looks at you confused.
I just don't tell anything to Cormac or Rain. They will continue calling you a witch or something along those lines.
Okay. I guess nothing was
I
down there
have
then?
never-
You remember,
Yes.
you've been at this for probably what feels like it's been like 2 hours or so, somewhere in there.
It was interesting. Yeah. Better you don't know just yet, Maddox.
Well, what do you mean interesting? He says curiously.
I thought that's interesting that what you did in the forest.
He looks confused. But I thought you were gonna go down there and check it out.
I did.
Did it come to a dead end?
No.
I mean, you couldn't have possibly looked that long. You've only been gone a minute.
A minute.
He looks at you confused and nods.
Right. Yeah, a dead end.
He shrugs, confused, and then we kind of exit from Sir Rune's moment here. All right, we're gonna go randomly here. From here, we're gonna go right to Collis.
Sir Collis is. Let me see.
You got about 3 weeks before you got to be back for the muster. It's plenty of time to get up to your lands if you needed to, but also, you know, if you want to do much up there, you probably can't. You could organize people to do your bidding while you're away. You're in Glevum, I think I said, right? Didn't I see you guys were... Where was Easter? Glevum or Clarence? It was in Glevum, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Thought it was.
The muster was going to be in Clarence.
Yeah, muster was in Clarence, but was it in Carline or Glevum as far as the Easter feast?
Pretty sure
thought it was
the
Carline.
feast was
I
Carline.
thought it
Yeah.
was Carlisle.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, so you're in Carline, so you know you're a bit far away, but you could get up there if there was something specific you needed to handle yourself.
I reckon you could make it to London if you you want to come and take the capital?
Do my vassals come to war with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you would be expected to field your convoy as a direct vassal of the king in his war.
Okay. And then my vassals supplement that with their own. Okay.
If they have, yeah. So you have a few. I can't remember your state, but if you have manors that are where you have vassal knights, then yes, they would. They too would have their own household knights that would fight, and commoners. Commoners often represent the, a good chunk of the non-cavalry. So.
I don't think he has much that he wants to do, because other than that, I'm assuming his. Actually, he'll go back to his castle and sort of get the vassals together and tell them that we're going to muster, because I don't know if they were at the feast or not.
Right, you probably didn't travel with all of them to the feast, so you're gonna go round out your group. That makes sense. Why don't you roll me a D10? Actually, it's possible this will be very straightforward for you. Not quite.
5.
Roll me 2D100. Let's see what happens.
22 and 76.
Tell me, do we have any particular enemies, Rhaegar or Sir Collis? Anyone I can't recall?
I think most of the time he fought them and won, except for the ones that knocked him down.
Right. And was there?
I don't think so.
No. Is there anyone you've had a deep rivalry with?
I have a directed trait for jealous or dig it, but it's very low.
Yeah, rid me of that guy. That'd be nice.
Okay.
He's the only one I could think of.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we can work with that one. What we're gonna do is say that you hear that Sir Diggit has pledged his full forces to this war down in Summerland for the king. So he's trying to that you are one of Nanteleod's key military leaders at this point. Especially Gwydir, though he's a champion, isn't necessarily known for leading men as much as he is being the first into war. Diggit would definitely be your closest competitor to being, let's say the marshal of Nanteleod's armies. And so you hear rumors on your way that basically he will be fielding more men than you are, kind of positioning himself to be likely in charge somewhere where you aren't. How do you feel about that, and is there anything you want to do about it?
He may have more men, but if he's inept at actually leading soldiers, he can have as big as an army as he wants. But if they're not organized and well trained, then there's that. So Sir Carlos will probably take, after rounding up his troops, probably make sure that they're in order, even if he has a smaller retinue.
Okay. Yep. You want to make sure that your army's fit for war. Why don't you give me a battle test? All right. And we'll see. We're gonna see how that 15 compares against the future roll here in a minute. But everything goes by smoothly, and we'll give you 15 glory, Alice, as you make a bit of a show of your men. All right. We will move in order at this point, and we'll go to Drax. So Drax, what do you want to do with these 3 weeks from Carline?
First, I just need to know how long it would take to go from Caroline to the castle that he's working on over in Camilliard. Because Rain's in that weird spot where he's under Leo de Grant, so
yeah, about a week and a quarter to get back and forth.
Get there.
No,
okay,
get back and forth. Yeah.
Oh, back and forth. Okay.
Yeah.
So he would set out from Carline doing his forester's duty, going to Camilliard, and then a brief period doing his Castellan job before departing.
All right.
To meet with the mustard.
Give me a hunting +3 roll.
Okay.
Roll me a d10. All right, and 2d100. And lastly, indeed. Lastly, why don't you give me a stewardship roll +3?
Okay.
Okay. You, as you're working, you're not terribly far from Carohag as you kind of go to do your stewardship duty and then go to leave. When you leave, you see that an army is leaving Carohag and going down through the main roads towards like Warwick and then down. So more over here. So let me just pressing the wrong button. Here, do I got you at the right spot? Yeah.
That's where the picture was, yeah, at one point.
Yeah. From here down to here,
Okay.
down to Lambor, where you guys fought all those wars,
Okay.
and then they're gonna ride down and give me a heraldry roll. We'll say that you're what, in your 30s now? Say you're having to squint a bit with your eyesight, can't quite tell. You see colors, probably Leo de Grant's men, because there's a lot of black and gold there. But you're not sure who, like if it's his retinue directly or who it is. You do have your squire with you again.
I was gonna say Leontis, yeah,
Yeah,
because
he
had
met
something to do over Easter.
Yeah, he met you here.
Okay. Yeah, we would just join up with them to head to the muster.
Okay. Give me a recognize roll +10 as you kind of close in and join the ranks.
Mm-hmm. That would have been a crit.
Oh, what it?
No.
Okay, fair enough. So you see 2 people here.
Okay.
And you can have 7 glory for that.
Awesome.
We'll give him some glory and a tick on that. 2 key figures that you're familiar with. You see within the retinue, Leo de Grant's is at the head, very busy and surrounded by his personal guard. But you also see Finnegan and
Okay,
he is
cool.
mounted, and he is armored like a knight. And there's something like it. You almost do a double take. There's something sort of regal about him that it
Okay.
sort of surprises you, and you're like, "Wait, no." You know when you see someone that like you haven't
Yeah.
seen for years and they're doing well, that it's that kind of vibe. It's like, oh,
And he looks substantially older or same age or
he's aging, so he's probably in his mid-teens, maybe somewhere.
Okay.
He definitely looks a bit older with you put armor on anyone, and it fits him
Right,
well.
yeah.
He was always kind
Yeah.
of a little bit of a like he wasn't a runt. Like he was always
Right.
pretty good size, not Cormac size, but good size.
Okay. That's cool. Serene would ride up along as close as he can with them because he knows how important Finnegan is to his fellow sort of Nanteleod knight, Cormac. But yeah, he wouldn't try to like force himself into the situation or anything because they're busy.
Okay.
So just travel with them as close as you can, keep an eye on them.
Right. I will say, like, as you travel, you get a moment to interact with him.
With Finnegan?
You notice that there are there are even guards around him and stuff. I would play up some of the other players who are presently here because the Summerland crew is here, and so is Lucius, but I don't have them handy for this scene. I didn't know this is how it was going to play out.
Okay.
But yeah, you would recognize Lucius up in the ranks with Leo de Grants and near the boy at times.
All right. And so I have an interaction with Finnegan then.
If you want to take it. If you want to leave him be too.
It would be pretty simple because Rain doesn't like to kind of get into other people's business, but it would be more of a he takes the moment to be like, it's good to see you again. It's been a while, just kind of that kind of thing, like a. Because he was just a young boy essentially when they first saw him, so.
I'm gonna do a recognize roll because I'm not the Dog Knight. I don't know if you ever had any real super meaningful interactions with him outside of being
not really outside of the dog stuff. Yeah, that was it.
But you were below the salt, so maybe there's that.
Yeah.
What's your glory actually?
I just broke 8,000.
There's a good odds then. Oh, he would have crit without the +8.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's like, oh, Sir Ray.
Finnegan.
It's
been a while.
It's Sir Finnegan now, Sir Ray.
Yes. My apologies. Like I said, it's been a while. Looks like you're doing well for yourself.
Indeed. I ride with allies to aid them. They lost land because I was harbored there, and I mean to return it to them.
Seems I'm going to a similar area too to do the same.
Indeed. I hear the muster's in Clarence. This is good.
It is. It is. Yes, I look forward to getting back down there. We've had some early successes with Nanteleod, King Nanteleod.
Make an intrigue roll.
Okay.
There's something weird about the way he's like there is, and he's talking about Clarence, and you're just getting the impression it's like, oh, I don't think he's going to Clarence.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep it to myself for now, in case I stumble upon anything else.
And Sir Cormac, is he well, and the others of Nanteleod Swords?
We are doing well. We've been fighting hard for our king. Cormac's had it rough for a little bit, but Sir Cormac. But he's doing better now, I think.
Good. Good that things are turning around.
Indeed, it is. We had some difficult trials in the past couple of years, so. But it's part of being a knight, isn't it?
Indeed. So Rain, it would mean a great deal to me if you could inform Sir Cormac that I received his gift, and I'm most appreciative.
I will inform Sir Cormac and let him know that you appreciate his gift.
He nods. When you guys make your way to about Kyneton, let me just make sure I got that right. Yep. Before you reach Clarence on the road, there is a splitting of the armies, and Sir Leo de Grant's second in command takes the majority of the army and continues on to Clarence along with you. And it seems that Finnegan, Leo de Grant's himself, each with maybe a total of like 5 or 6 convoys with them, begin to make their way southwest.
Okay.
It would seem like that would take them over the hills to Glevum, and then if they were to continue south, that would take them right to Great Bridge.
Okay. Yeah, he'll make note of that, and then so he can possibly pass it on to his other loyal brothers in the swords. Possibly.
Leontis looks to you after they part and says, "Do you know where they're going?"
Not entirely. I have my suspicions. Not something I wish to really share. Never know who's around.
Why do they call that? Why do they call Sir Finnegan the Winter Prince?
I'm not really the one to say on that, and I'm not sure I certainly know entirely.
Right.
I just know that our king says that he's important, and I've known the young man, for quite a while. It was good to see him again.
I have news, he says with a kind of awkward smile. Good news, Leontis says.
Oh?
Well, I haven't fully shared the details with you, but the Cornovi tribe of these lands before Leo de Grant's time. My father is of the line of the last tribal chieftain. I'm betrothed, he says with a smile.
Congratulations are in order then.
Indeed.
This is good news, as you said. Then we must fight hard then.
Indeed. So, Rain, it is strange to be betrothed to a child, he says with a look of concern on his face.
I see.
But
Not sure I have a good answer for that, to be honest.
right?
Not this. As you said, it's strange.
Yes, strange. But the king has been kind, and I'm sure Guinevere will grow up to be a fine young lady in time.
Thorin kind of nods at that. I trust the king. So I suspect you're correct in that.
And with that, we will shift. Bert, my friend, what do you want to do with your time?
I think that with the brush off that Nanteleod gave him at the feast, he will spend
Right. Yeah. That's right.
he's gonna spend time organizing his
Before you go any
organizing
further,
Nanteleod.
a very
What's that?
critical thing happened to your character last session. Do you want to remind yourself and us what that is?
Well, a couple of critical things happened.
The spiritual one.
First, he was blessed by Saint Iltid personally.
And what did that do to you?
Well, it's given him a little bit of that old Cormac spark, that devotion to God that he had lost has sort of rekindled in his heart.
Indeed. And your hatred for yourself has been removed.
Yes, he has sort of forgiven himself and sort of replaced it with that devotion to God again.
Yeah.
But the other critical thing, at least critical in my mind, is the brush off that Nanteleod gave him at the feast. He's starting to see cracks in his loyalty to Nanteleod.
Whittier's brain. Error.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, Gwydir,
Simply mean.
I love my family to death. But Nanteleod is... It's hard to say where... Cormac is still loyal to Nanteleod.
Okay. I have a proposal for you then. I think until you can address this crisis, you cannot call on your loyalty to Nanteleod.
Fair. I'm good with that.
It just makes sense, right? Why would you impassion yourself with something when you're not certain that yeah, exactly. So we'll figure out what that looks like, but what do you want to do with your 3 weeks you have here?
Well, I am still like the epitome, even without that,
Yep.
of a knight of service, and I have sworn my service to Nanteleod as the captain of his guard. So I am organizing his personal guard. I am organizing forces for the march, and I am
Roll.
I'm basically doing that.
Roll an energetic roll.
Too easy. Unless I fumble.
Never say too easy until you got a 20 on the other side of that.
Especially when you're when you're rolling.
Now give me a battle roll +5.
Battle roll +5. Alright.
Would that have been a crit?
No. My battle is actually higher than a 15.
Okay. Okay.
I might be famous for it, in fact.
Right. Okay, and then roll me stewardship +10. These bonuses are coming from your past energetic roll. You're busybodying your way into micromanaging a well-routined unit, so.
Part of me wants to impassion for this, but
I love seeing stewardship getting rolled. Doesn't happen often enough.
I think I'm going to be more careful with when people can impassion, and the argument will be what's interesting if it goes wrong. So if you end up in melancholy or you end up in madness, is there, if you're impassioning an awareness roll, it's like what is the maddening outcome of that? It's hard to figure that out after the fact sometimes. So it's worth making sure that it matters. That being said, I feel for you there because that would have been a crit with an impassion. So
yeah.
Regardless, the army's well organized. The stewardship thing isn't something that you're accountable for. It would have just made the outcome even better. So you can give yourself a 15. Let's make that 26 glory as you organize everybody, and you kind of work exhaustively to make sure that the armies are ready. And then roll me a d10 real quick.
You said 26?
Yeah.
Rolling 1d10. That'd be a 4.
2d100.
That would be a 49 and a 57.
Okay.
What's that say? Poison liege?
Yeah.
I mean, if you insist.
Oh, is Matic around?
Nope. He's up with Rune.
Lucky.
Okay, one sec. Oh. Okay, you are visited by the Archbishop Dupercus, Sir Cormac.
Oh.
Ah, Archbishop. How may I be of service to you this evening?
Well, I was just checking in to see if the champion of Nanteleod was back in Carline as of yet.
Such concern. But no, I believe you have, done quite well in driving him off.
I did no such thing.
Maybe not physically, because who could physically move Gwydir? But you have a way with words, much the same way others do.
And yet, despite my best attempts, I'm unable to convert such a pagan.
Well, sir, there is something that my mother would once say. Something about flies and honey, as opposed to vinegar.
And that's why I've
Too
come
bad
to
that
you,
you speak
Sir
such
Cormac.
vinegar.
It's no untruth that the pagan and I have not gotten along in our endeavors after Menevia and forward. But I've heard great news. It seems that you've found your faith once more, Sir Cormac. Congratulations. Iltid
Yes.
spoke to me about this.
Saint Iltid is a wondrous man. A great teacher. You would do well to learn a lot from him.
Indeed. I can only hope to be a great saint such as he one day. I've come here as a humble archbishop, of course, to speak to you and persuade you, perhaps, to consider a proposal. Don't think so much of the source as the outcome. I petition you to set aside the feud that I have with your cousin, to hear but a simple suggestion.
I am but a humble man. Anything the wise guidance of God would lead me to hear, I cannot. I can I stop myself from hearing it?
I know you care a great deal for Sir Gwydir. That much is obvious. You protect him, and you trust him. But you know, much as I do, where his soul is destined on his current path. And all I ask is that you reflect on it in prayer and consider if such a thing is for the best for your cousin, for his soul.
Archbishop, I do pray for my cousin's safety every night. And I will speak to him if you will do but one simple, humble favor for one such as I.
I will
All
hear
I
your
ask
request.
Is a humble, personal apology to Sir Gwydir. Need not be public.
When
That's-
Albin's finger is returned to Menevia, such an apology could be considered. But as you know, St. Albin's relic has been taken, and it was under Gwydir's command that such a thing occurred.
I have addressed it with him, and he has given me his word of honor that while he personally did not do and take the relic, that he will dutifully right this wrong, despite not having strong feelings for Christ or God. He shall fix this. That he has given his solemn oath. What better way to bring him closer to our Lord and Savior than to encourage him with a bit of forgiveness and charity and grace?
You asked me to forgive him, but you also asked me to apologize. To forgive a man is different than lying, Sir Cormac.
To forgive is much harder than others make it out to be. Forgiveness is next to godliness. Are you saying that you cannot forgive him?
I'm saying that I cannot apologize, but I can forgive. I have done no unwarranted wrong by him.
Yeah. I will speak to him if I can. When next I see him, and when he returns.
I look forward to seeing Albin's relic returned, and I will have no ill will once it has been done. As for your cousin's soul, I will leave those matters to you, Sir Cormac. You are his shepherd now.
And I shall guide him as best I can. By God's will. Name my own.
All right. We will carry on from that. I already gave you your glory and such, right, Bert?
Yes.
All right.
Although, come on, trying to out-religious the Archbishop, that's gotta be some sort of ballsy.
Yeah,
I mean, that wouldn't have worked with Rain at all. He would have been in trouble, I'm sure. Rain has no love for that guy at all.
How much shade was I throwing at him?
Much as you could.
Right. Okay, so we will carry on. We go to Gwydir in London. Last we saw, he had almost choked Ethrida out, killed her through choking her out in madness, and snapped to just in time to recover her, and she is once again breathing.
Yeah, it's pretty
Gwydir, given your situation, why don't we start with a D10 roll for you, because that could change a lot.
cool. Sounds good. 7.
Okay. You are left with an occupied London. You're left with no sign or sight of or awareness of anything that is to come. Because you failed your intrigue roll when you were in Lindsay. Otherwise, you'd have a sense that Lindsay means to attack here. But
I think I passed it. I chose not to inquire, right?
Yes, that's what it was. You chose not to inquire.
Yeah.
So you don't have awareness that this occurred, is my understanding.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned in a feast, but I don't remember if Gwydir overheard it or not.
I don't think so.
I don't think
Yeah.
so either, yeah.
I think it was above assault, and you didn't spend
regardless-
a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a good thing because, he is aware that there is a muster going on. And I think, if there was an imminent attack on London, knowing that the finger was in there, given everything, he might be tempted. But given his loyalty to his lord, who has summoned him to a war that he is at risk of being late to, I think he just, rides back and has some awkward silences and awkward conversations with Ethrida on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the only sensible thing.
Right.
Not that he's
and-
sensible, it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think so. If Frida, for most of the ride back, we'll say by time, just to avoid the wrong kind of drama, we'll say that any sign of the choking marks are gone.
Cool.
And as you get back to, or as you're riding, you get the sense that she's not like. You get the sense she's forgiven you. Like, she shouldn't necessarily, depending on how you feel about it, but she doesn't seem to be frightened of you. She doesn't seem to be. She's a little bit colder with you, but it seems to be very much the same. Other than that, though.
Yeah, interesting.
This is a world where
say-
people do that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's tricky because Gwydir is a true knight, and it's also 6th century,
Yeah.
and I am neither of those things.
Right.
But yeah, so I and there is the element which is that she is his squire and she shouldn't be mouthing off to him, whatever else. Not that I'm saying that excuses it, but I think in the time frame it kind of means like in normal circumstances you may expect a squire to receive
Like,
some
yeah,
sort of
it's
punishment.
their in the new edition they handle that quite. It's actually its own passion called station, and so
Yeah,
her
right, there you
station
go.
as a squire isn't one that should be putting down a knight of any kind, let alone the knight, their master that they're training under. Of course,
Yep.
for those that are confused by this and have just tuned in, Gwydir, there's a way to bring someone out of madness, which is to challenge it. The consequence of said failure is that the madness turns on you. So she tried to break Gwydir out, and it backfired, and that's why she was beaten up. It was not a character action. It was a standard thing that happens. So
Thank you. Thank you for saving me from
I'm
being
absolving
cancelled.
you of your awkwardness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I might. Has she told him that that's what she was trying to do? Is it obvious? Or
I think you know. I think you know.
Yeah.
Especially, you know why? Because you had a similar encounter with Cormac not very long ago.
That's right. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
fresh in my mind. Keep punching
Yeah.
me in the head. Yeah, cool. I think it probably takes him about this long to muster up the courage. Like, he was apologizing when she was, barely conscious and whatever else, and the heat of the emotion was still fresh. But I think it takes him about this long, a week of riding or however long it's be, to actually just. Frida, I'm sorry, by the way. I know that you were trying to help me, and I appreciate it. And I overreacted. I didn't have my mind. I'm sorry. You deserve better than that. That pheasant.
Before you say those words, what is your pride?
16? It was dropped to a 16 last game.
Okay. Do you have any sort of with by itself, you're gonna have a hell of a time doing this. Like, you hear the words in your head, and then you go to open your mouth, and you just can't. You can't admit this fault. Is there something about
I'll rephrase
Frida?
it.
Well, no. I'm supportive of the drama of this. Is there something about Frida that that might reflect a certain sense of loyalty, or like what about her would bring you past your own pride to offer a rare forgiveness?
Yeah, I think that she. I think that I don't even know if he knows this necessarily, but I think it's sort of in the back of his mind, and I think a lot of what Gwydir knows and feels is super subconscious, and I think the thing that makes him feel closer to her is that they're both outsiders, right? And more recently, Gwydir feels like he's again, it's subconscious, and I don't think he would ever acknowledge this or is even aware of it. But I think in the back of his mind, he feels a bit persecuted for the pagan thing. Like, as far as he's concerned, he's not done anything wrong. Now, that is not true, of course, but as far as he's concerned, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's just being a pagan and doing, living his life. But yeah, and he's like, I've killed like all of my king's enemies. I apologize. What do you need me to do to just let me be the knight that I'm trying to be? And I think that he sees that she also has been, and his hate Saxons has been dropping as a result of this as well, because I think that he's like, well, fuck, maybe being an outsider isn't so bad as long as you're a good person, And I think that that's what he sees in her to a large degree, is that she has been despite everything, she's been handling it all super well. She has not embarrassed him despite, being a Saxon. She's met him on even ground in terms of being, jovial and funny about their differences and whatever else and these sorts of things. So I think that's what it is. He's like, she has earned his respect.
Roll a d6.
4.
Okay. You're going to have a new directed trait. And you can use the following language, either loyalty eth Frida or respect eth Frida. Sorry, let me take a step back. You can use the following language, either respect eth Frida or affection eth Frida. Just to be clear, affection is not, it's platonic.
Yeah.
It's maybe even paternal, like it'd be like fatherly.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, yeah.
Kind of Arya and the Hound vibes, basically.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with affection. I think that's a little more personal, which makes it more interesting.
Okay, so now I want you to do a modest roll with
that
+4 and a proud roll with -4. You can actually choose which you roll first in this case.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I think
of
he's
modifier.
actively trying to get it out, so I'm going to roll modest first.
Okay. There you go. I don't think you need to roll the other one then. Yep. So your apology comes out as you thought it. You're able to speak the words. This all takes a quarter of a second, maybe in a scene, there's like this flashback montage of the times you've traveled together or something. And, or we showcase a scene that we haven't seen with the two of them before. Right. And then, afterwards your words come out. Cool. All right. I won't, because it's an exception, I won't make you test modest overall. What I will do instead is raise your 4 to a 5. No.
Cool. That makes sense. I should also note that with the increase of merciful from last time, I'm not famously merciful, but I am, with my directed trait, famously merciful toward Christians now.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick be right back, and then we will continue on. We're gonna start the next scene with everyone arriving in Clarence, and we'll get to Gwydir quite soon, so hang in there. By default, nights start at 21 with Kimmer culture, Christian religion, Salisbury homeland, and a random family characteristic. You can choose different options for all these. There are 5 characteristics: size, dexterity, strength, constitution, and appeal. Size and con determine total hit points and unconscious value. Size and strength determine weapon and brawling damage. Dex keeps a character upright or horsed and is used for starting weapon skills and throwing. Con also affects healing rate. App covers starting social skills, attractiveness, distinctive traits, and seating at feast. Skills have base starting values, some determined by your characteristic scores. Most skills are straightforward, but here are a few unusual ones. Recognize is used for identifying people, folklore for general and mythical knowledge, battle for navigating battles successfully, and hunting for navigating Britain's dense forests. There are 13 paired traits, like chaste, lustful, or valorous, cowardly, where increasing one lowers the other. These define how a character naturally behaves. If a trait is 16 or higher, it's famous, meaning the character defaults to the behavior without rolling. Otherwise, in uncertain moments, a player can roll one trait of the pair. If it succeeds, that's the action taken. If it fails, the opposite trait is tested instead. Over time, traits can shift through gameplay. Passions show what your character cares about, like loyalty, lord, or love of family. They range from unsung 1 to 15, famous 16 to 19, and exalted 20 plus. You can invoke a passion for a bonus, but failure can cause melancholy, creating a -5 penalty. Or, in the case of madness, takes you right out of play. Famous passions are riskier, but exalted ones mostly help. In Pendragon, you roll a d20 and want to roll under your tested trait, passion, characteristic, or skill, like Price is Right rules. For contested rolls, the higher success wins, while the lower success is called a partial success. Sometimes you need to roll over a target number for challenges, like breaking down a door. Yeah! Rolling exactly your tested value is a critical strike. Rolling over your tested number is a failure. Rolling a 20 on a failed roll is a fumble. Bad news. If your tested number is greater than 20, the extra value becomes a bonus to your roll. This removes failure and fumble risk while boosting your critical chance. Glory measures a knight's fame for their deeds, directly granting permanent increase to their character. To be a knight is to pursue more glory. The more glory, the more recognition, and the greater the benefits to your character. This concludes the basics for a player on how to play Pendragon. The GM can guide the rest. Check out my linked series to find out why you should play Pendragon. Okay. The next scene will be set in Corinium. We have Rune, Collis, Rain, and Cormac currently present as this scene begins. Why don't I get Wergar and Yampa to each roll me a D100. Just want to see, for setting purposes, I'm going to see if I can exaggerate anything. 98 and 82.
It's either good or very bad.
Okay. The group of you are brought in before Nanteleod. And just as you... By the way, for those that are already here, you know that Leo de Grance's army is here with his second in command, but he is not present. There's not a lot of shared information about why. Gwydir is not returned as of yet. We'll pick up at that point with Nanteleod and a lot of you. So aside from the group of you, Maddox here, Justin's here. I think like the rest of the swords of Nanteleod and the rest of his personal guard are here. Everyone else is not present. Actually, just to twist a knife in the wound, Diggett's here as well.
Fun. So are
Right.
we waiting to be addressed by the king, or is it just kind of like a meeting prior to him giving an announcement or something?
It seems like if he's brought you together, he has some kind of small council or something to share here.
Oh, okay.
But usually when
Okay.
he does his format, it does allow for room for you to inquire things if you wish. Before we begin, I know I'm going to save that for a minute. Continue. You got anything you want to say, Ray?
Rain was just gonna try to talk to Cormac real quick and pass on the message from.
Why don't you catch him? Why don't we do that real quick? So as you're kind of
Okay.
entering the room, you pull Cormac aside.
Yeah, he just kind of like slaps him on the back a little bit, just kind of as a greeting.
So, Rain, how does this day treat you?
It goes well. I brought some news that you might be interested in about that kid of yours, the boy,
Like,
or the young man now.
everyone has told Cormac that Finnegan is likely dead, except for Lucius. So, his first reaction is to sort of, you've seen Finnegan. Is he all right?
And you can tell that.
Intrigue roll real quick, Rain. I just want to add something to that. See if you
Okay.
heard some gossip while you're with them.
Okay. And he would notice that Rain did not use his name at all. But that's why, hey, nice, I passed that. That doesn't happen very often.
You heard apparently a lot of the unit was talking about Lucius having a black eye and telling everyone that Sir Cormac punched him, gave it to him. You didn't have context for why, and then
Okay. That Lucius had a black eye.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. And okay. So Rain kind of just nods a bit. I did. I'm away from Camilliard. I met up with Leo de Grants and he was traveling.
Is he well?
He is, and we spoke a little on the way. Yeah, he's grown into a fine young man. He said he appreciated the gift that you left him as well. He's going to go far, I think, Cormac. Carries himself well. He's looking fit.
Does he? Lucius knighted the boy way too soon.
I'm not so certain about that, Cormac. He's a fine young man. He looks ready.
That's good to hear.
And he travels with good company. I
You
just
said
felt
he was
that I had to pass
traveling
it on.
from Camliod.
From that area, we met him on our way south. Me and Leontis did. I was finishing up my Castellan duties.
Wonderful. What do you mean
And
he travels in good company?
he was traveling with Leo de Grants himself.
Huh.
As I
Leo de
said,
Grants is a good king, is a good man.
he is. He's a very, very good man.
Right,
But I
you
felt
see
I had to pass that on to you.
Thank you. I
if there's
appreciate the message. You have my gratitude.
Anytime. I felt that if it was the roles were reversed, you would do the same.
Without hesitation.
Then let's focus on the war ahead of us then. Get this all cleaned up.
Aye.
With that, Rain would kind of step back and kind of mingle a bit again.
we'll say that happened on your way in, so the two of you enter then into the room. And Nanteleod looks ready to speak. He waits around. He looks like he's looking around, doing accounting, making sure that everyone's here, and then he nods and he says, "Very well then, let the War Council begin. Awareness rolls, everybody, real quick."
Just missed.
All right. Is that everybody? That is, right? Yeah. 4, yeah. Rain, you can hear someone moving quite quickly towards this room. You hear the clomping of the footsteps.
Rain would be alert and kind of turn his attention just in case, hoping it's just a messenger.
Rain turns his attention, of course, naturally, like half the room turns and looks where Rain looks. And then in enters Gwydir.
Just a smile
muted.
from Rain.
What's going on, bitches? Nice to see you again. Hello, High King. I'm sorry I was late. I owe you an apology. Right, we have a war to win.
With that, Nanteleod just gives another nod, kind of as if that's about the same as one might expect with Gwydir to show up like 2 minutes after the bell and, roll in like nothing changed. Like he didn't just disappear for three weeks. So after that, Nanteleod continues. We'll be dividing the forces into two. We aren't as well stocked as one might wish for a decisive victory. We have Corneus and many of his allies sieging London at this moment.
Sieging. Why didn't anybody tell me?
Elbow him real quick.
I was just there. I could have helped.
I think because they're this is a small council, so this would have I guess Kedrick would be one of the only ones. Kedrick's just in London. It looks at you weird.
Well, yes, I was going to get the finger, you see, but then I realized that, well, I really should come back and fight this war, I suppose. But the war is there as well. I could have... Dupercus would have been so happy and I could never hear his stupid voice again. Sorry, High King, I know you like him.
Right.
Rain just grins even more hearing all this.
Cormac just puts his hand on his shoulder.
As mentioned, we'll be splitting the forces. And his eyes look around the room, and this is where I do that test.
Nice.
Sir Collis, you'll be assigned the forces that will remain to siege Bath. You'll have Leo de Grance's forces and several retinues of my own men and the soldiers of Redigrain, of Powys, of Estragales, and Gomerette under you. You realize that with the last bit, with the Gomerette, he says Gomerette and Norgales, that puts Diggit under your command as well. Your rival in this. And there's a look, an obvious frustration on Diggit's face with that.
Rain's doing hard not to just completely just break his normal, rather neutral expression at this point, because, oh man, that feels good.
Collis, I will be looking for you Sir Justin and Sir Rune to lead the siege.
Aye, my king. We will bring a swift end to the siege.
Sir Diggett says, my lord, if I might, I am a fine tactician, and I carry several conroys under my banners. I would be well fit to lead men. And Nanteleod just looks to him and nods and says, perhaps that is true, but these are my swords, and I trust them to carry on my will in my absence.
Gwydir just flexes.
The rest of us, and he kind of looks towards Rain, Cormac, Gwydir. We'll be continuing on into Salisbury.
Aren't they on our side, High King?
They are, and they welcome us. We'll be
Oh, that's
traveling through the forest gloom to siege Wells and start our campaign north.
Oh shit, that's such a good idea.
By the way, for those that were already here, Gwydir wouldn't have news of this, but the other four, without intrigue, you'd realize, like, there's been no mention, like, what is Leo de Grand's up to? I mean, Rain knows a bit, but no one else does.
Yeah,
So-
Rain's not sharing that because tactical stuff. Yeah.
Well, we had heard rumors that they were mustering to head to London, no?
Not
Or
Leo de
Corneas was mustering to
Corneas
head to
was.
London.
We hadn't heard nothing about what Leo de Grants was doing.
You can make an
Gotcha.
assumption like that if you want, Rune. If, you know, like, that would be a fair assumption. If he's not here, maybe he's fighting in London.
I mean,
Right,
yeah, I think that's like the most. Yeah, that's what his on Rune's mind. He's certainly going to London as well.
Paulus, Cormac, would either of you like to, out of character, would either Bird or Wergar, would you like to speak up here? If not, I'll continue on.
Cormac, while wondering, wouldn't actually say anything.
Noted. Okay.
Sir Collis, on the other hand, my king, who do you expect to face the Cornish army first? Is it the army that you take to Wells, or do you think they will try and muster and attack Bath to defend it?
It is possible that you face a great task in your attempt to siege Bath, but we must commit our forces there for this maneuver to be successful. You have enough forces to take Bath, I'm certain of it, but it's not overwhelming. If things should go awry, your orders are to retreat to Corinium. There are other forces heading through Great Bridge who will be present.
What about all the Fae and all of Cadwy's men? Surely they should be fighting to look after their own lands. You know, it's a little bit well, I'm not looking to upset anybody, but you know.
With that, Nanteleod clears his throat. And with that, none of you noticed prior, because you can probably guess why. But within the gathering of knights, you now see King Cadwy.
Oh, fun.
Oh shit! How long have you been standing there?
He's not dressed regal. He's dressed much like everyone else. Definitely a nobleman. But you would have, at first glance, kind of thought him to be any other well-fed, aging lord, and not the king of Summerland. Mostly because no one asked for recognized roles or anything to see if they spotted. Like, who else is here? Do I know everybody here? If I got any of,
I was gonna say like Rain wouldn't even know. He's never
Yeah,
even
yeah.
seen the guy before.
We're
So,
gonna have the
like,
king of Cornwall here. We didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I don't think
Bring
I
in that giant
recognize
with you,
him
King
as
Cadway.
King Cadway.
Fane! Are you bringing that fella, that big tall fella, Fane?
I don't bring much more than a Conroy myself. My goal is to allow you to pass through the forest gloom unhindered, and of course, through the mist.
That'll give us a good tactical advantage to sneak up on Wells.
Nanteleod nods and says, "Indeed."
Oh,
I
right,
like
so
this.
those idiots are still stumbling around down there like a bunch of blind goats.
There is one additional matter. Nanteleod says. Sir Finnegan, as all of you know, Finnegan has been knighted. I announced such prior. He has named himself the heir of Uther Pendragon. And his claimancy is supported. He is set to become the king of Logres. But for now, he's known as the Winter Prince. Sir Finnegan's journey forward is not without threat or contest. In Carrowhague, there was an attempt on his life. It seems that the late Praetor Siagrius still hunts the line of the Pendragon to their end. And with that, Cadwy says, "Have no worries there. I've set a certain black dog to see to that matter."
Oh shit, he's that guy that was supposed to be marrying me off to some elf princess.
Everyone looks confused.
You weren't
I don't
there.
even look confused anymore. It's just one of those.
Rain's just shaking his head a bit.
Oh wait, that might have been a secret. I don't remember.
The Winter
Siagrius
Prince
guy,
will be alongside
Oh.
Leo de Grants. They'll be fielding liberations in western Summerland, an attempt to free more lands and recover more of Summerland from under the Cornish holdings. With the armies facing threat of actual march, such a liberation attempt will likely be possible. And the Winter Prince brings with him the loyalty of Leo de Grants, who's pledged his sword as a means of paying back a late promise to the Pendragon line. We're well equipped for all these battles ahead. Are there any questions? Very good. Let us take back the lands of Logres from our enemies. Let us take back Summerland in London. And once we have, we can see that Logris once more has a king.
Huzzah!
Okay. And with that, we'll bring it to a close, guys. Yeah. So we have. I'll be sending out the invites for next week. For those that are watching, we are doing recordings so that we keep things secret and Fog of War-like for all that are involved in these various things. Using your guys' schedules, I was able to put together where things might best fit. And that is why people are positioned where they are. If you're confused at how I broke things down, it was a little out of character as well to make sure you could make certain things. But there will be crossover scenes that are pre-recorded, and then we'll be releasing them the following week. So there'll kind of be a weird jankiness going on for next week. You might see me streaming a lot less live. But rest assured, we got some good stuff coming. We do have a few people here. We can still afford to raid out, I suppose. Let's go ahead and do that. Does anyone have anything they want to shout out before I close?
Legend of the Five Rings tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Indeed. And we have Legend of the Five Rings tomorrow. You know what? Now that you mentioned that, why don't I go ahead and quickly see if I can show the video here for people. I just gotta change out a media
Handy
source.
dandy Discord. I'm sorry I didn't see you there. Memes and shit posting.
It was pretty good. You must have watched a couple episodes.
Yeah, I could actually probably quote the whole thing off the top of my head, but I...
Right? That's what I mean. You pulled those out in sequence, so I was assuming so.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Oh, dang it. Damn you. One sec. That awkward pause when I think I can do something quick and it doesn't work. Yeah. It's like, I got this. I got this in the bag.
You
fine.
guys
It's
come here
fine.
often?
Yeah.
I'll make
Right?
my can you dig it joke again, and maybe it'll land this time.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it landed. I was enjoying it quite well.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not 60 years old, so I don't get that
Yeah, well,
60
your
years
loss,
old.
buddy.
one. I'm kidding. I know. I giggle.
Wow.
It's good
being
Thanks, bud.
him getting stuck as a subordinate to Cos is very satisfying for Rain.
Don't you think so?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's a cost
Hopefully he
sucker.
dies. That'd be good.
Use him as
Hopefully he
fodder,
dies.
Collis.
And he's fighting people.
We'll see
It's
what
like
happens.
it's like trip him while he's charging. It's like whoops.
Oh, I dropped my spear and it
Oh
tripped up his
no!
horse. I'm sorry.
Oh, did that kill you? I'm really sorry about that.
I think it would be more like I think it would be more like, hey, you know your cousin Rain? Yeah, he married. Yeah, the one that married Justin's sister. Yeah, what are we gonna do about him?
Yeah, right.
All right, I got it.
Right.
For those that want to watch the trailer, thanks for taking part. I encourage you to stick around for the trailer, and then we'll be raiding out from there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
rewrite that.